Hey, Shalom Akim. It's your brother Malcolm from the Chicago branch of GMS, giving all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, the true leaders of all Israel that is on earth today, whether you receive that or not. And this is going to be part 2 to a video that was directly and personally to Pastor Andrew. I can't even think of his name because he's really not that important, but yet he needs to be destroyed spiritually. Anderson, Pastor Anderson, Dr. James White, and Vocab Malone. And anyone who agrees, follows, or listens to them. Also to the G20 ministries. To all these Edomite entities that come up against the Lord. You are indeed the Edomites, the group of people which is promised no mercy. All right. And your colonial, your colonial plantation version of Christianity, your watered down lies, all right, is going to be further destroyed and annihilated with 100% proof, undeniable truth. Okay. We're going to start with the definition of ham out of the Young's Bible Dictionary. Okay? This is a Young's Bible Dictionary. You know what? I'm going to turn on this light. Yeah, there we go. Turn this light on. And let's just go straight to it. I'm going to turn to ham. Okay? I'm gonna put it up to the camera, as I've done many times before, so that the viewing audience can see. Okay. All right. This is the first part of the definition. You can pause and read it for yourself. I'm gonna turn the page. And there's the second part. You can pause and read it. Okay. And it reads, Ham, a son of Noah, a father of Cush, Egypt put in Canaan. Egypt put in Canaan. See further on each of these four. While they may have all been dark-skinned, they were dark-skinned people, they were not the forefathers of the Negroid races. Negroid is in plural. The 12 tribes. Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right? But rather the peoples associated with Egypt in the north of the continent of Africa. The Egyptians thought of Canaan as one of their provinces even into the very late time. So the Egyptians are sons of Ham, so-called African people. Okay? I'm going to read a couple scriptures, and then we're going to go into some images of artifacts that are still in ancient Egypt to this day, proving to you what the Egyptians looked like during the birth or the rise of the Israelite nation who was living amongst them, whom, might I add, Paul was mistaken for an Egyptian. Okay? Moses grew up among the Egyptians and was accepted and believed to be one until he woke up to the fact that he wasn't one. And Joseph and Mary, the father, physical father and mother of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, okay, hid among Egypt, amongst the Egyptians. All right. So with those facts, we're talking facts here. Okay. All right. We're talking about people and what they refer to as the Middle East. Because Egypt is actually in Africa. It's not the Middle East. And the land above it is not the Middle East. The Middle East term is a false term which was created by the so-called white man who what are you doing? What he did was what he deemed as the Middle East was midway between Britain and India when he was traveling back and forth. That's where, and so that term is a little over 100 years old, almost a couple hundred years old, and they've stuck with that term since. Okay, so it was midway from Britain to India. Okay, it was never referred to as the Middle East. So as if the Middle East was a different, part. No, you had Africa, then you had Europe, or what's referred to those continents today. All right, so let's go to the book of Amos, the 9th chapter. Because the Bible is testimony in itself. But you're going to have people who want to argue what these words mean and try to come up with these pathetic excuses about what scriptures are talking about color and what scriptures are not. Like trying to use Lamentations 4:8 and 4:7 and say that that's saying that the Israelites were white. No, that's wrong. White in that particular scripture is talking about purity. All right, that's why it's important for you to look up the meaning of words. All right, this is Amos 9:7. Are ye not as the children of the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel, saith the Lord? Have not I brought you up out of the land of Egypt? Okay, so he's compared them to Egypt. It says, out of the land of Egypt and the Philistines, and from Kaphar and the Syrians from Ker. Syria is right above Israel. All right, so he mentioned the Ethiopians. Okay, he mentioned the Philistines, and he mentioned Egypt, Mizraim. All these are the sons of Ham, the prescribed dark people we just spoke of. Okay, Salakia, I had a little interruption there. But next scripture. I want you to keep in mind everything that we just read about. Okay, the Ethiopians, Israel, Egypt, and the Philistines, and also Kaphar and the Syrians, which is a major, which I shouldn't even have to do this sit down, because this prophecy is being played out, man. World War III is at hand, man. Okay, but you know what? You still got people who need to be edified, and the tongues of these blasphemers and these liars must be stopped, man. So somebody's got to do that. Okay. Next scripture. Now that we talked about the Philistines and Egypt, let's go to the beginning. Let's go to Genesis, the 10th chapter, and let's read about Ham. Since we just wrote that we just read from the scholars, the PhD C. Douglas Young, PhD, in the company of PhD doctors who put this biblical dictionary together, this Bible dictionary together. They all were in agreement that the Ham is the forefather of the dark races, but not the Negroes. Negroes come from a different dark man, and we know that they're not Japhetic, so the only one left is Shem. All right? Stop playing. All right, this is Genesis, the 10th chapter, verse 6. The sons of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan, as we just read. All right? And verse 13 and 14. And Mizraim begot Ludum, and Anam, and Libman, and Naphtuhim, and Parthresin, and Casphalim, out of whom came Philistim. The Philistines came out of the Hamites, came out of Mizraim, the Egyptians. Okay? But we're going to keep going, adding insult to injury to these lying, blaspheming. And where is all these places at? In the Middle East. Because in his video, he said the Lord was Middle Eastern. He knew he wasn't white, but he looked Middle Eastern. Well, you're going by the people in the Middle East now. Those are not the people that were there during the time of the Israelites. Okay? All right? By the time the Lord came on the scene, Edomites were in there because Alexander had already taken over, and his 4 generals had claimed and laid claim, but Ptolemy laid claim to Egypt, which I'm going to show you in this book. And you did have the lightening up of the nations that were in the area, and the Hamites included, and any Ishmaelites that were wandering about because of the influence of the conquering armies of fulfilling scripture of the so-called white man through Alexander. Okay? So that part lay true. All right? Let's go to the book of Songs, the Song of Solomon. And actually, I'm at Job. Since I'm close to there, let me just read Job first. This is Job 30 and 30, because that's one of my scriptures. And it reads, "My skin is black upon me. My bones are burned with heat." So how are you going to get past "my skin is black upon me"? Meaning it's really dark. That's just the English translation, because no one is really black. You have red people and you have brown people in different shades thereof. You have brown people that have shades of red too, like in the term ruddy. Right? Like if we look up ruddy, you'll see dark ducks, horses and other animals who are brown, but you can clearly see the red hues in their color. All right, different birds and things of that nature. All right, which is what ruddy really means, not the Newspeak definition. Okay, look that word up. Okay. Now let me find Songs of Solomon. Let's find it. 1 and 5. This is Songs of Solomon 1 and 5. Okay. And it reads, "I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon." So Solomon was a very dark and handsome man. Okay. And then finally, speaking of the Jews, let's go to Jeremiah 14 and 2. Okay. Also, when you get it, and anyone who wants to debate this fact, you can get it even in the JPS, which I have behind me. All right, in the English and the Hebrew Bible, when you read it in English, it doesn't say black. When you read it in Hebrew, it says Kedar or Kedarwa, which means dark-skinned. Okay, can't get around it. So even though they lied about it in the English, it's still printed in the Hebrew. All right, but this is Jeremiah 14 and 2. Okay, and a lot of Bibles, they just took the black right out. Makes you wonder why. This is Jeremiah 14 and 2. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. So they're black. I'm looking at dirt. Matter of fact, I just replanted my cactus over here because it's getting bigger. So I had to put it in a bigger pot so that it can continue to grow. All right. And there it is. Judah is black unto the ground. If you look at that dirt, all right, it's rocks and dirt mixed in there with that cactus, all right, but it's really brown, as you can clearly see. All right, it's really brown. All right, it's kind of wet but there it is, because I just watered it. All right. So now, Pastor James Anderson, that lion Edomite devil means deceiver, he said that the Lord looked Middle Eastern. Well, this is an encyclopedia of ancient Egypt, and it's actually kind of a newer book by Helen Strutwick, so that's a fake Jew, general editor. Okay, see? Helen, I'd like to thank you for condemning yourself and exposing yourself. Copyrighted in 2006. Okay? Those are some Middle Eastern people. All right? They look like Negroes. Why? Because they are. And they got woolly hair. Their skin is darkened to the ground. Let's continue. Let's just flip through it. All right. We're going to look at many, many pictures and images. All right. What you're looking at is Negroid type people with woolly hair, especially when you see images like this with that texture that's showing you an afro. Those are Egyptians, man. Okay, and then they went through black, knocking the noses off, trying to hide the features, chipping away at the lips, trying to hide those Hamitic features. But in a lot of cases, it didn't even help, man. It didn't help at all, because those Hamitic features are so strong. More images of Egyptians and Israelites. Okay, brown-fleshed people with woolly hair and cornrows. The so-called white man has never worn cornrows, all right, until recently. Okay. Middle Eastern, brown-skinned Negroid people with Negroid features, clearly. There's your Middle Eastern people, so-called. Okay. Right. The Egyptians were so-called, and they were dark. All right. Now, here's a few from Alexander. Okay. This is when Ptolemy came into there and Alexandria was built. All right. So you have the white influence. So there will be some images like that. But prior to that, it was all dark people. And the older relics are proof of it, which this book is full of. All right, let's find some more. Let us find some more. Oh, they really tried to knock the lips and nose off this one, because you can clearly see that looking at it. That was the so-called Negro. That goes to show you the wickedness of the so-called white man. You still can't hide those features, and I'm talking about this one right here. Those lips and that wide nose, those wide cheekbones, they tried to hide that. Okay, different shades of brown, from a dark brown to a light colored brown. Okay, Middle Eastern people, so-called blacks, Egyptians, sons of Philistim, sons of Mizraim, Salakia. Yeah, and Philistine was a man of was a son of Mizraim. Okay. Let's find some more. Israelites in slavery. And in this book, they're not even calling them slaves. They call them workers. But those were Israelites right there, because they were slaves in Egypt. Everyone knows that. All right. Somebody was forced to build those pyramids. And then especially on the carbons, man. Okay, you can't get around this. The Israelites in slavery, building the bricks for the pyramids, man. Those are not white people. And they don't have tans. Those are so-called Negroes. The Negroid races, as the definition said. But they didn't want to just outright say the Israelites. They just said the Negroid races. Okay? Actually, I've showed you more than enough. But then it's funny. Yeah, no, well, there's some more. Oh, yeah, you can clearly see. And it's funny how the ones with the widest nose and the thickest lips, they always seem to chip them away, man. All right? But, yeah, looking at these slaves, these carvings, if you look closely, you can see those thick lips and those noses, man. And those Negroid features. Can't get around this stuff, man. These are your Israelites. These are your Middle Eastern people. Okay? Now we go to the middle of the book. Let me see if I can find that photo, and I'm gonna be about done. Okay? Just find it. Or not a photo, but a painting. Just to show you how much of a liar the so-called. Come on, man. That's one of the pharaohs, man. With a golden crown on. Okay. And as racist as a so-called white man is, you know he wouldn't have put up no dark image. Right? But I could just find it. So I've showed you more than enough. And I could go through page and page and mark out special pages. I didn't really set the book up But it's funny when you get to the art that was done by hand for this book. And after you're looking at these people who built the pyramids, when they put in the middle of the book, what do they show you? That's what Esau does in his Hollywood movies. He takes on, and right, like Edomites are going to be in a hot Egyptian sun and desert. With there will be so much skin cancer and boils, they'd be unable to work, man. Okay? They were in those caves in Mount Seir. So this is how much of a liar the so-called white man is. Because he puts himself up to be the people of the book. All right? He's the Edomites, man. He had nothing to do. So he wasn't Middle Eastern. He wasn't the Egyptians. And let me just get one last scripture. Shut this down. This is 1 Maccabees, the 3rd chapter. All right? And the 48th verse. All right? And it says, and they laid open the book of the law, which is the Bible, wherein the heathen sought to paint the likeness of their images. So that's what the so-called white man does. All right? He's a deceiving devil. All right? So with that, I'd like to say all praises, glory, and honor be unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS. And salutation to the Akim who are out there doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and freedom to do so. Shalom.